Meeting June 27th, 2017. Roll call, please, Pat.
Lauren Messer.
Here.
Garrett Gander.
Here.
Jennifer Martucci.
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Brent Jordan.
Present.
Sherry Vermont.
Here.
Debbie Wool. Here. Jeff Cook.
Present.
Thank you.
Y'all please stand and join me in reciting the pledge. Over here. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. You guys have before you the agenda. There is one note, item G8, the depository bid is not ready yet, so we're going to pull that one from the agenda. Are there any other changes that need to be made to the agenda? G8. Okay. Hearing none. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Lori moved.
Second.
Jennifer second. Please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, that motion passes. Okay. First thing up, Board President's report. We have a few celebrations to share. Or we will here in just a
And
moment.
I believe there's a PowerPoint slide or two to
Yes.
pop up.
So,
Yeah, do we have any public comments?
no public comments.
We're getting closer.
Okay. It went fast when we started. Okay. First thing up, some celebrations. The 2017-2018 new teachers. So Joplin Schools new teachers for the 2017-18 school year gathered as a group for the first time here at Memorial Education Center on Monday. Teachers were issued their laptops and were trained on the use of their email and data systems, and this will give them a head start for classes starting in the fall, so they don't have to wait till a couple of days before school. They can work all summer.
How many do we have?
Do you have that
Steve,
number?
There was about 60.
60.
60 new teachers.
Okay. Next up, some celebrations. A couple guys in this room. So we had a retirement reception today to celebrate Dr. Norm Ritter as our interim superintendent leaving us, and Paul Barr, our chief financial officer for the years at the Joplin School. Congratulations. It was
Thank you.
a well-attended event.
23.
Very excited. Ready for the next chapter of your lives, the next big inning.
Thank you.
All right.
I do have to say this, though, that, you know, I was called to come here by a number of people. Now I'm getting a serious call to go to Arvada. Her name is Nadine, so,
Yeah.
so there you go.
Is she here tonight, or
No,
is she packing the wagon?
She went to see a friend, and
Oh.
that's the real reason she came.
I want to know what Paul's
It's
plans
springtime.
are for
Yeah.
retirement. What are your plans
Oh,
for retirement?
I don't have, they're not in the
Fishing.
clear focus, but fishing, baseball, of course, working my dogs like crazy, and being with family. I'll probably continue working in a career position, more in a flexible or perhaps part-time role in finance or risk management.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
Exciting times. So go out with a bang. This is the big one.
Yeah.
All right. Committees.
Oh, we have one more.
Oh, one more. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. We just announced this. Dr. Ron Langford is going to continue on with Joplin Schools in his role as interim chief financial officer for next school year. And we're excited to keep his experience within the district and help guide us as we're carving our new path in Joplin Schools. So congratulations on your new position.
Thank you. I've enjoyed this year. I appreciate Dr. Ritter, and he still blames me for coming to Joplin because I was somewhat involved in it a couple of years ago. But it was a great decision to bring Dr. Ritter in October when he called me. I just finished painting my house, so I was kind of out of something to do. And I've really come to appreciate that you do have excellent facilities overall. You have great leadership in the buildings. You have great teachers in the classroom, and this district is positioned to start moving forward after a long trial as far as you, as a community, have gone through a whole lot. And if we ever forget why we're here for the kids. And moving together in unison on behalf of the kids, you are positioned to do that. So it's kind of exciting to be able to work with Dr. Moss. We've developed a good working relationship, and that for a period of time, this is just 1 year. I'm done after this.
That's what they all say.
That's what Norm said too.
But I am looking forward to maybe being able to contribute.
All right.
Well, and if I could add to that, we know that Dr. Langford has helped us out on limited basis this year in the HR department. So now as he's transitioning to the finance department, I would like to also, if I could, she's here with us tonight, introduce Miss Ashley Jones. She's sitting in the back there. Ashley, if you wouldn't mind to stand. And Ashley is going to be our new Director of HR and then do some work in system support for us as well. And just to echo some of the things that have been expressed today, I appreciate the board and the board's willingness to let me come a couple months early so that I could have time alongside Dr. Ritter and absorb as much as I could about the systems work and the human-centered design type focus that we have now put. Teacher voice, classroom. I just want to echo that without having that good transition time, I don't think we would be as far along as we are to this point. And me coming in to just want to continue the good work that has been done and being able to do that alongside Dr. Langford and Ashley, that was what came through so clearly in her interview, was she spoke that same language that I think it's going to be a great fit, and I too am very excited about the future of the district. So thank you very much.
Congratulations and welcome aboard. All right. Let's step to the policy committee.
All right, we have policies for first read tonight. These have gone through, I don't know if you guys realize, when we go through policies, a lot of times we read them and then we go back and we'll say, okay, Carrie, take this back to the principals, have them review it, take them to transportation, whoever they affect, we always have those Paul reviews, the finance ones. So as these come to us as a board for approval, just know these have gone through lots of stages before they get to us to approve. So if you have any questions, let us know, but that's kind of our process of doing them. And we also have second reading, some on the consent agenda, so.
Okay.
And we'll meet again. We usually meet like the second Monday of the month, so, and anyone's welcome to come. So.
Thank you. Finance, Salary, and Benefits Committee.
You want to take that one, Lori?
Well, we met and we took a look at the budget and all of the different places that our money is going to be going to be well spent in many different areas. Talked a little bit about capital outlay spendings. What else, Mr. Barr?
Life insurance.
Life insurance.
Which we have tonight on the agenda, both budget and life insurance.
And revenue.
At the regular session.
Okay. Thank you. All right. The Data Committee meets July 17th is our next meeting. So the MSBA Leadership Summit.
Yes, we attended this meeting. I attended, and Jeff and Dr. Moss. And basically, we went to the pre-conference the day before, and then the next day we all took different classes that were, it's very informative for me, being a first-time board member. And some of the classes there was school safety assessment, finance, why teacher equity matters, legislative updates. So it was very informative. And I do have some packets that were emailed to us after we took classes that we can send and just leave it up to you guys on each board or each committee if you want to look at it and take in consideration some of the suggestions they had. But it was very informative in that aspect. So
Great. Thank you. All right. Dr. Moss.
We have the health and dental care insurance is the next item.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, that item is enclosed in your packet, and it does reflect over a $3 million balance that we've grown to. So again, we've said this several times this year, but the good work of the Employee Health Insurance Committee last year, when we were kind of scuffling with the balances being too low, and the hard work we did to supplement that fund and then adopt rates that were more in line with the reinsurance policy, that's paying dividends this year. Plus, I think we've said it before, but last year was a high utilization year, which we understand that comes around once in a while. It's just the random nature of the health plan. This year, conversely, is a relatively low utilization year, so we're benefiting from that. That's why the plan getting so healthy on a regular basis. The real utilization, the average utilization, is probably somewhere in between last year and this year. But so as we cross over $3 million balance, 3.2 or 3 million, keep in mind that a plan our size for as many retirees and employees we serve, really, last year the committee heard that it should be closer to $6 million balance. So hopefully, if we continue the work we've started, we'll make it there in a few years. But questions on the health plan?
No? Thank you. Next item up there, financial statements.
Yes, the financial statements are enclosed. Of course, one of the biggest two items we have on the agenda for tonight's action is budget adjustments to close out this year, and the original budget that was covered in the Board Finance Committee meeting for July 1, the new year. So those are the two big finance items on tonight's agenda.
How has the capital projects fund only received 4.72% of the projected budget amount? It says that projected budget is 27 million, year-to-date amount is 1.3 million, with a $25 million balance, $26 million balance.
So you're on the financial statements page.
Uh-huh. The revenue summary report. So is that something different, or is that money that should be coming in? How does that work?
Okay, you're page 1 there, the summary, revenue summary.
Right. Does that have to do with the grants, or?
That shows that we've, in terms of the budget, you're talking about the 4%, is that money that we've received? What is the source of those funds?
Yeah, it says we've only received 4%, 4.72% of that projected budget.
I think that would be our capital outlay monies we've transferred over for this year to date, because that fund has no levy, and it's funds we transfer from the operating fund over there that pay those expenses. I'd have to spend a little time to give you an accurate answer tomorrow and give you a listing of what comprises that 4.72%, which I'd be glad to do.
Okay, if you have time, I just
Yeah,
noticed that, because the others were pretty well, we've received a lot of the funding of that, and I
Right.
realize that goes through August, I think, right,
Yeah,
before
well, this
we
one's
close that out.
through April 30 as far as the activity, but yeah, that's a low number for year to date, and I don't want to misquote, so I'd be glad to get that for you tomorrow and provide that.
Okay, I just thought, I didn't see it before now, or I would have asked before now,
Okay.
so thanks.
Other questions?
Okay. No other questions? Thank you, Paul. All right. Next up, we've got the consent agenda. Consent agendas typically things that don't require conversation, question. So if there's a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Sure.
Second.
Moved. Second by Jennifer. Okay. Please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay. That motion passes. Thank you.
Got to ask a question.
Yes, sir.
Pest control, does that include humans?
Depends on how long you stay.
I see, okay. Just checking.
Jay.
Okay, next item, regular agenda, item 1. Joplin Early Childhood Education Center, prime contract change order number 5. Here's the team.
Okay, we have Aaron, Bailey, and David, the usual players.
Bailey wasn't coming up.
Yeah, here she comes. And we have some things that we've been talking about and sending in the board updates. And I'll let them explain the details of what needed to be changed. But the bottom line looks a lot better than it has been lately. So anyway, not that things haven't been done efficiently and judiciously, but anyway, this is going the other direction, right? Okay, go ahead, Aaron.
Sure. As you're looking at the prospective change orders there, number 17 and number 19 actually relate to a parking lot revision that we made in making an island in the parking lot that would help us not to have to deal with mining issues, which would cost a considerable amount more of money, which would have gotten into that credit that we show there with change order number 20. So we're able to revamp the parking lot, do some new curb and gutter around that, remove some of the asphalt area, and do some landscaping there to help cover that so that we would not have to actually build as structural a cap on that to support the asphalt, and it won't have the opportunity then to telegraph through to our parking lot later down the road. So those 17 and 19 are related there. Number 18, the water vault clarifications, is a change that we have to make. We will have to tear up part of McClellan Boulevard to tap into the water, and so that's going to involve a lot of substantial removal of some asphalt, rerouting traffic, and going back to patch all that in. There's been some miscommunication between what was available to us on site, and bottom line is we did not have any live water on the site. And so we are having to go out into the middle of the street and tap onto that, and so that's why that amount is there. Then the credit that you see there for the $42,000 and some change is the credit back from the original PCO number 3, where we were going to pay for all of the mine features that we were taking care of, and Crossland along with Asbel and Anderson Engineering were able to track that and efficiently take care of those issues. Hence you see a sizable credit back from that original, I believe $180,000 that we had originally thought that that would take. So the total is a credit of $17,333.80.
Nice. Good job.
I would say, I encourage everyone to go out there and drive by the center. It's really taking shape, and it looks amazing. So you can really start seeing what it's going to be like.
And Bailey, do you have the running total with this one?
I do.
I
Are you
thought
ready
you
for
might.
it? Give Eric a minute.
Our
This
contingency.
We're going in the right direction.
Yeah.
Can I get your roll? I'm really happy to bring this one to you because we have a credit. So the first slide that will pop up here will be what was approved as of the last board meeting, May 23rd. We had a contingency sitting at $367,912.41. And then our next slide shows us what that $17,000 credit does for our contingency. So we're pretty happy to have a contingency here at this point in the game.
Is that as of today?
Yes.
So that's okay.
All right.
Good news.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Any questions, anybody? No? Keep up the good work.
Do we need to, I'll move that we approve the prime
The
contract
change.
change order number 5.
Okay. Motion by Jennifer.
I'll second.
Second by Derek. Please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that motion passes. Thank you, guys.
If I may say something, we had a conversation with the Dean of Education at Kansas City University. And so you have Kansas City University, you have Irving, and you have early childhood. part of the requirements of all their students is going to be service. It's going to be an awesome opportunity there to get highly talented students around our kids. So just keep that in mind as you're moving along here. Remember that.
Yeah.
I
So,
do remember that.
yeah, so I think it's going to be wonderful. When you stand at Kansas City University and you look down, it's all right there.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's something.
In the Lefkin Autism Center there too?
Yeah, autism
I
centers
mean,
there
that's
as well. Yeah.
Close.
Yeah. It's
So anyway,
very nice.
Very good.
Thank you. All right, thank you, guys. Sorry we didn't have more questions. When you bring us money, we're happy. Thank you. Accounts payable.
It's the bill list items for payment of materials, equipment, services, salaries, and benefits for both instructional and support areas is before you. The administration recommends the board approve payment of bills in the amount of $10,619,753.40.
So moved.
Motion by Sheriff.
I'll second.
Second by Brent. Any questions? Hearing none, please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that motion passes. Thank you, Paul. Next, budget adjustments.
Yes, we have the budget adjustments tonight. These adjustments, I think it's the second or third in the series this year. We always do one at the end of the year to make sure that any changes in the budget or spending patterns that the board has authorized throughout the year matches up with the adjustment, with the budgeted funds. And you see them listed there under data as to what describes the purpose of the adjustments. The impact of balances is listed on the spreadsheet, page 4. So if the board has any questions, I'd be glad to field those at this time.
And these are coming out of what fund?
Everything's a neutral impact except playground fall protection material is coming out of Capital Projects Fund 4. And then we had to adjust the capital outlay, primarily the impact of the lease purchase that we authorized June 1st. There were changes in FEMA and SEMA grant funds. That was a new lease agreement, so it had impact on Fund 4 also. The rest of the funds are offsets, revenue offset by expenditures.
Okay. If there's no further questions, I'd entertain a motion to approve that item.
So moved.
Motion by Lori,
I'll second.
second by Derek. Please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that motion passes. Thank you. Next up, Fund Transfer Authority.
Yes, this is a slight revision to what we adopted last month. Typically, we bring just one a year, but we had a need to bring the preliminary estimate based on DESI preliminary numbers. It's in data section C, number 1 last month, and is again this month. DESI puts out their final number in June, I think June 15th. So it was slightly higher by $40,000. So we're bringing this back to you with that one small change by DESI to reflect a higher transfer ability. Again, we're not transferring funds tonight with this. This just authorizes Finance Department as we close out the year, June 30, make our final adjusting journal entries for June, talk to Dr. Moss and Leadership Council about what exactly, here's what we could transfer to put us with our financing plan to pay capital outlay next year, impact on operating fund, with the transfer. That discussion will be had by leadership in July to finalize the actual transfer amount. But this is the
Okay.
authority that stems toward that action.
Okay. This is an update from last month.
An
for the
update from
authority.
last month, yes.
Okay. Any questions? I'll move that we approve that agenda item as presented.
I'll second.
I made the motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Brent second. Please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that motion passes. Okay. Next item, the salary schedule updates.
Again, this is a little bit of a cleanup update, cleanup from last month. We had additional pay items to include with the salary schedule item last month, the athletic amounts payable for gates and different things that were not included in the May item. So no changes to that. We're not paying that differently. We're just being transparent, trying to be complete with having board approval on all rates of pay that we adopt for next year. So that's just to broaden out last month's action a little bit. Also, Carrie, you may want to comment about a new transportation trainee wage that was developed between last month and this month.
Yes, we went back and looked at what we were paying our driver trainees during the 2 weeks that they go through training. And it was suggested that we relook at that wage, especially as compared to what the wages are of the drivers once they become a full-time driver hired by us, a substitute driver first and then a full-time driver, which is the typical regular wage. And so we made the decision to recommend that we would pay the minimum state wage for, which is $7.70 an hour, during the training period only, okay? And then when they would be promoted up to the substitute pay and slash regular wage of a regular bus driver once they get their license and they're approved to drive and they go through the training. So that would take place, July 1, basically. And so that was part of that discussion. And one of the things that we want to do is we also want to promote, longevity for the drivers and an interest in staying, and hopefully that will, over time, we're going to watch it and make sure that it's effective. And Mike has drivers to train right now, and we train about 20 to 30 drivers a year. And so that's a little bit of a cost savings at that point. But of course, as soon as they become full-time drivers, or at least on the substitute list, then they'll get the regular wage.
And then lastly, the third part of this is clerical salary schedule adopted last month. No changes to the schedule numbers that make up the schedule, but the footnotes that relate to the schedule, lower left part of the schedule that's attached and part of this item, had to be revised to correspond, better align with today's and tomorrow's leadership structure, because the positions, clerical positions, report to leadership, and as those positions change, prompts a change in the descriptors. So we were basically updating those descriptors to move along with leadership. So it hadn't been done in a number of years. We were kind of behind.
So it's cleaning up.
Do we have a copy of that?
Yeah,
It's not on
One
here,
on the
and it's
packet.
not in our packet.
Yeah.
Pat, does that, was there a salary schedule on your master associated with this item? I would ask.
Yeah. So it's moving them. It's just where to place them.
I have
Changing
one.
the titles.
I had
that
one
they
date,
were
yeah, the title, I'll pass this around. I had one dated June 27th tonight, that those descriptors were what changed, not the numerics.
Not the numbers.
Is that what we have there, Eric?
This is the new one.
Yeah, that's a new one there. Can you drop it or move it up just a little bit so they can see it?
Is the old one in page 4?
Move it.
Let me see the bottom.
So we can see.
It's changing.
There's the rates, athletic rates.
See it, see it.
Yeah, I'd like to get a copy of that too.
Yeah.
Okay. Pat, you make a note to send that out. Thank you, ma'am.
So can you pull up so we can see the, keep
Right
going,
here.
no, keep going.
Well,
This. So let's,
I've
so
got that
these
one
are
too.
the,
I thought
are
she-
these,
I haven't ever seen it either, so.
Those are the athletic pay rates that
The
we omitted
stipends.
inadvertently in May, but no changes to those from last year or prior years to next year. They're just, we were just not as complete as we wanted to be when we listed all other pay rates in May. It's our goal to be complete with every rate we pay throughout the year. So this completes what we'll be paying next year, same as last year.
Is that per game?
so it didn't change.
No, it didn't change.
So
Those
these
are per
are-
game. Right.
So we pay gate, an announcer, a bookkeeper, and clock worker, like at a basketball game, we pay each of them $60? Is that right? For like a JV game, $40 for a JV varsity?
I'm not sure.
I'm just asking because it's for all of them, so is that what we pay all of them? Does that make-
Matt Hyde's here, can you explain how we apply those?
It'd be nice if we could get volunteers to do that, maybe kind of use the
I kind of
club.
thought that, although I guess there are secretaries.
Question on how if we pay, you want to ask your question, Jim?
So like where it says for basketball, 3 games or whatever, $45, but it's for gate, announcer, bookkeeper, clock workers. So usually you'll have a gate worker and a clock worker, say at a 9th grade game. Do we pay each of them $35? So,
Well, yes, but a typical night is 3 games, freshman, JV, varsity.
So
But
it's per
we-
night, not per game?
Per night, yes. per
but
night.
we're paying all of them $35. So really for all of those, if we have, like at the high school games, we have a gate, 2 people at the gate, an announcer, a bookkeeper, and then the clock worker, so that's 5 people, so we're paying them all $35. So that's 35 times 5, whatever that is, $170, $175
correct.
a night. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks.
Any more questions?
There might be some of that community service that maybe some of our kids and clubs have to do. Maybe they could do that. Save us some money.
Have a varsity do it for the 9th graders.
Was that an action item?
Yeah, it is.
It is.
Okay, so we have a motion to, we need a motion to approve the salary schedule update that includes the language, includes the change in bus driver pay, and includes the change to the continuation.
I'll make that motion, and as I'm making it, I wanted to acknowledge to Carrie and their work on the change to the bus drivers, that it was indicated to us that is typical with how other districts handle training of bus drivers. In fact, many districts don't pay bus drivers in training, so the move down to the minimum wage is in line with what other school districts do, so.
Good point.
And I will second that. Thank you.
All right, motion by Sherritt, second by Brett. Please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
I abstain, but it doesn't mean I don't agree.
All right, yes. All right, that motion passes. Thank you. All right, next item up, the budget.
Yes, we have the original budget to adopt for next year. By statute, we're required to adopt the budget by June 30, so we're bringing it this evening. It's quite a busy document. It will be posted to the website with approval tomorrow. The operating budget, which is a combination of the general fund and the special revenue fund, it's budgeted to have a slight, basically it's a balanced budget, but for our size budget, it is a $112,000 surplus, but for all intents and purposes, we call it a balanced budget because that's a pretty small surplus. However, part of that fund plan for next year and the next three years is to transfer monies at $1.5 million for the principal payment out of the operating fund over to the capital projects fund to pay the lease purchase principal that'll start next spring. That principal payment will be due. So, but we're not encumbering that. We're not matching that budget item off by revenue. We're actually, the board and the committee and the board finance committee and the board at large has adopted a plan to have a planned reduction in operating fund balance, reserves, savings, however that is best understood. It's to lower by $1.5 million next year, which is about a 2% drop in fund balance. So to summarize that, the original budget is a balanced operating budget with the plan to lower reserves or savings in the operating fund by $1.5 million to make our first of 3 or 4. Our only payment next year is due of $1.5 million, but that plan, we have that plan out there for 3 or 4 years until that debt's paid off. Other than that, the I'll field any questions anybody has on the budget document. I did want to, maybe at discussion time, I could highlight some specific items, or Board Finance Committee may want to highlight some that's included there, but we recommend the budget for adoption this evening for July 1st to start next year.
All right, open up for questions.
Again, we did discuss some particulars at the Budget Finance Committee a couple weeks ago. Went over the new revenues that we had projected, that we've been working with as we worked with the two unions and came up with the allocation of raise package, salary and benefits that we adopted in May. We were working on the local property tax projection increase next year of $1 million. State of Missouri sales tax, relatively small budget increase there of $170,000. And let me say that these were intended to have for the screen tonight, but it didn't make it. But this will be posted on our website tomorrow too, so anybody wanting a snapshot of the bigger revenue and the bigger expense items can have it. State aid, basic state aid, state of Missouri, $607,000. These are revenue figures to increase over this current year. Railroad and utility tax, $105,000. What are some of the highlights in this budget that'll be purchased? We're funding 8 net new teaching positions, $400,000. Professional development of $20,000 increase. We're putting more into the diesel instruction at Franklin Tech of $12,000. Project Lead the Way, Franklin Tech, $16,500. We've increased the paid maternity leave through board policy action this year. That has a cost associated of $58,000. Basically, as we increase paid maternity leave, we anticipate more maternity leave usage, so that'll cover subs for those teachers that are out. JHS curriculum software, $13,900. Four school nurses and 1 speech pathologist, $160,000. Parents as Teachers program to fund that at $150,000 level. Net staffing changes, $161,000. Legal fees, $41,000. District paid employee health insurance, additional $66,000. Again, that's district is paying in that, holding the employee at $0 increase, and including for their individual coverage as well as all the dependent coverages at no increase. Related back to the health insurance report earlier, that it's doing pretty well this year. So staff raise package, like it is every year, it's usually the big one. Salary and benefits, $751,000. So that's kind of a snippet of the new items in the expenditure budget. Capital projects budget, school safety and transportation upgrades, $200,000. Buses, 4 buses this year. We're getting back on a purchase track after having 2 years of no buses. $370,000 for those 4 buses. Computers and servers, $141,000. We're in our last year of the Apple computer lease, $500,000. That'll be paid in July. And then again, I've already mentioned the Bank of America lease purchase that we initiated June 1st. Has the principal payment in it for capital projects that we mentioned earlier, and interest associated with that of $400,000. So that's kind of a snippet of the revenue differences and some of the highlights of expenditure differences in this budget presented tonight. And this summary will be posted for tomorrow's website.
Paul, I noticed a significant decrease in federal revenues that we're expecting this year. When I reviewed the budget, looks like it'll be nearly just a little bit more than half of what we had budgeted in the previous year. So I appreciate the work that your team did and basically presenting a balanced budget for the school board to consider. So with that, I'd like to go ahead and make the motion that we approve the 2017-18 budget as presented.
Second. All right. Motion by Sherrick, second by Lori. Any discussion?
I mentioned this in our committee meeting, but I would like some discussion about some of these programs that we're funding that have lost some of their funding, and I'd like to know what their value is. I'd like to, I know that there's value to them, but when a program loses their funding, for the district just to pick it up and pay it
Yeah.
without consideration of that program. I'd like to have that in the future before it's just put into our budget and approved. And we talked about that in our committee meeting. So,
I know that was a difficult one with parents as teachers this year.
It
That was
was.
one that the state dropped. Was it the state?
Oh, yeah, in the last several years, the state reduced their funding.
Reduced, and we've been able to.
And a United Way grant is expiring, a grant they've received, I'm sorry, that flowed through them to us, $84,000, starting July 1's expiring. Now, we did talk about this in depth at the March Board Finance Committee meeting. We didn't end with a solution or bring anything to the board at that time, but that was talked in depth then. And then I appreciate Ms. Martucci's remarks about getting in front of these things. And then 7 times we had board updates throughout the year from either special services or me or others where we highlighted this topic as a whole we knew we needed to plug throughout the year, starting in October 13th through April 13th. We had 7 mentions of this item in board Thursday updates.
So is there going to be a committee or something to look at that, or a task force, or? Is that something the board has to appoint?
That would be our
or-
finance committee, I would think, that it's something that we need to look at and just, I just think to look at the value of it for what we're paying, or when that happens, do we have like a matching thing where they've got to get funds and the district would match what, it's sort of like, I've got a kid who knows that if he doesn't get a job this summer, mom's still going to pay him, he's still going to get money. So he's doesn't have that not
Motivation.
drive or that motivation to get it because he knows it's just going to be paid for, whatever, So I just think in the future, I think especially if we're pulling programs out of our general fund, when we're looking to tighten up in some areas, I think that we just thought should be that kind of conversation. It has been brought up. I mean, we knew it was coming up, but just to say, okay, well, we just have to pay it. I'd like to have some conversation about the value of those programs, and we can decide, well, maybe we want to fund it to $100,000, that we could afford that, but they're going to need to find a $50,000. And I know there was some of that.
Parents as teachers
I know
is
there
the
was some
example.
of that.
Exactly.
There was $66,000 that they took out of their budget that they didn't spend, that we started the year with.
Yeah, they had a $112,000 projected loss this year. And it might not be as much as we've been projecting for the recent months because the year is just getting ready to close, and the attention that Sandra and her team have brought to this item that we've been dealing with all year. I think the second half of this year, as we close the books, perhaps a report in July or August will catch up the district on, this budget may not be fully needed. But when we know the final revenue numbers, because they've been after it for several months to improve, they're not waiting to improve with this budget. They've been after it for months, making their improvements. And I think we were projecting conservatively a $112,000 need deficit for this year, coupled with the $84,000 grant that will no longer be there effective July 1 next week. That comprised a $200,000 deficit we were dealing with all year, talking about that planning, working with Sandra and her team. And again, they've made some changes this year. I think they have more to make, and they're scheduled to work with Finance Department meet every month or two next year to see if the changes they're making and how they're going to meet or not meet the goal. But they did adopt of that $200,000 anticipated deficit, they took on $50,000 just to operate more efficiently. 1/4 of that deficit they've adopted to try to change and find efficiencies within their operation, no more fund, no more revenue. So it has been a partnership effort in recent months, working with Sandra and her team and trying to achieve the most efficient operation possible. But I do think, Dr. Moss, was there a preliminary meeting and preliminary presentation perhaps scheduled for October's meeting?
Yes.
Is that for PAT to come to the board and
Yes.
explain some of the changes, how it's going?
Yes, we've already started discussions about that, and I can't remember exactly where the October guidance came from, but I remember
It was
when
in
we
our
were talking
meeting.
about that.
Yeah.
That was the month that we settled on, and that's been communicated to Sandra and her team, and I know they're gathering information to share with the board.
And not just to pick on that one, I mean, it's a good point,
No,
too.
it's just, it was an
Yeah.
example of
Well,
what came in.
Transportation, state transportation
Same
is gonna be
thing.
down next
Right,
year, so
right.
we need to get in front of that at the
Right.
beginning of the year to know
Right.
what impact. I think it's $160,000 negative impact to us. But then on the other hand, the formula is fully funded.
What I would suggest is you're doing that you do really a good systems review, not just looking at the dollars.
Yeah.
And so when you're looking at your systems review, and you're looking at parents as teachers, I would suggest that the community hear a conversation around early childhood and parents as teachers. In other words, are these kids ready for kindergarten?
Yeah.
And so what are the figures showing us? And then how's that impacting the third grade performance? Now, when you have that conversation, that brings value to that, more so than the money. And so I think that's probably the type of shift you're going to see in October.
Yes.
That's what you need to see coming to the board, the value around the classroom, the value around readiness. I think you're going to find a lot more excitement around that. Then the money's going to make sense to the community. So anyway, that's just.
Well, and that's what I think, I just want to know what the program is, what are we paying for, and the
Sure.
the value to our system, that's exactly it.
That's exactly it.
And that was some of the information that we talked about in bringing that forward. Who are the students served? How many are served? What are the results? Those kinds of answers.
Perfect, thank you.
There's no other question. Cheryl made the motion, Lori made the second. Please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, that motion
How
passes.
many $1 million was that?
I would like a copy of the budget if we could.
Sure.
Just get-
100.
What's
The,
in here is really close to what I was
total
gonna say,
budget
how
was,
it's- how it's-
Well, the grand total is
Answering those
96.4 million
Mhm,
96.
yeah, and then, but then just
of all
track it
funds,
through
all
the year.
It's the smallest.
So the next item, life insurance bid.
Yeah,
Paul?
and then it'll shift, yeah.
Yes, life insurance, thank you, President Cope. This was one of our board finance committee items we reviewed, and the district funds $25,000 term life for each full-time employee that the district pays 100% of, and we go out for bids every 3 years and see what the market tells us. And the market came back favorable this time with an improvement over our current carrier, and we're recommending tonight that the proposal of Minnesota Life be accepted for each active full-time employee at a rate of .056 cents per $1,000 of coverage, against $25,000 coverage per year. But that was the low and best bid, and we would recommend approval by the board.
All right. Accept a motion to approve that item on the insurance bid.
So moved.
Sherrick made the motion.
I'll second.
Derek second. Please vote.
Got a question?
Yes, ma'am.
How does this affect retirees? Does it? Do they,
This is just active full-time employees.
this, okay, so it doesn't, okay.
affect
I
them.
guess there's no impact on it, okay. All right,
Now please vote.
yes.
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 Yes. Okay, that motion passes. Thank you. The next item will go to number 9, the health plan TPA.
Yes, the Employee Health Insurance Committee met 2 or 3 times in the past month or two to look over the health plan. Of course, we brought the rates and their recommendations to you in May. They continued their work by directing or requesting a survey be conducted relative to the service level of Healthcare Solution Group, which provides the third-party administration services for the plan, which is the employee's health plan. A couple of the primary functions of that service is to pay claims according to our health plan, make sure the plan stays in compliance with all the various benefit rules, ACA, the myriad of rules that keep coming at us in the plan, and also to guide the plan, keep us current on all things medical. And they were an instrumental part last year of meeting with the Employee Health Insurance Group as we worked through that financial quagmire last year. So the committee directed we conduct a survey about their services. We've shared that with the employees at large through district chat. That survey was conducted last week at school. We shared it with the board as well as the Employee Health Insurance Committee, and it was deemed to be a favorable feedback from the survey. It went out to about, I think, all 900 of our, it went out to district chat, but we have 800 and some employees on the plan, and another 150 or so retirees, comprising about 920 total. So with the favorable results, the committee asked us in meetings in May and June to proceed on with Healthcare Solution Group and negotiate within a reasonable tolerance for additional years of service by HSG for the, starting with the upcoming year. So the administration did that, and the recommendation is before you for a 5-year service renewal, again at relatively reasonable, modest increases. I will point you to the increase is a $1 increase total for the next, over the current rates, all rates, $1 increase starting October 1. That $1 serves for the next 3 years is the negotiated element before you, and then another 45-cent increase one time for year 4 and 5. That comprises the $1.45 increase for the next 5 years total. And I point you to the data section C3 to compare that to other area rates that I received for TPA services range from $14 to $23. What we're quoting there is a per employee per month rate for the service they provide. So, and also I went back to our August 14 quotes we received in August of 14, and this negotiated rate is less than 2 of the ones that we received at that time for comparative purposes. So the board, the committee summarized with making the recommendation, as you see there, to approve those rates for the next 5 years, and also attach the renewal agreement for board to assign if approved.
Can I ask a question on that? Does HSG, do they ever see the survey?
Yes.
They do, so they're, any of the complaints or comments, they'll review and try to...
They're working with Becky England, our benefits coordinator, to address not only the some of the individual comments that came through at the end. I think there were 60 or so of those. Some were about the health plan or kind of set aside, but there were pluses and minuses. So looking at those minuses, working with those comments, and also looking at the overall service level and the 7 or 8 basic questions I asked to see where they might improve. So that should be a collaborative effort next year, starting in July or August, to have the committee sit down with the servicer and say, let's talk about, let's discuss these, let's see where we can improve. What are your ideas for improvement? That sort of thing. So that's a conversation and a study that should go on.
Great.
And can you refresh on the membership of this healthcare committee? Who's it comprised of? Carrie?
Matt's here.
Matt? Okay. Matt's on it.
Yes, he's the man. Chairman of the committee?
There's quite a few new members, by the way. There's quite a few teachers.
And we want to make sure that people are aware that it's not just done
secretaries
while we're sitting here.
Anybody that brings a question up to us, I invite them to the committee.
Okay.
And that's kind of the easiest way to do it.
Okay.
So at first it was, and we have everybody. We have certified, classified, and it kind of ebbs and flows. There's probably about 5 or 6 of us that are pretty consistent, and that's usually Colleen and a couple of other teachers that come through with me. We're pretty much there all the time, but we've had as many as 20 at a meeting, and we've had as few as the 5 or 6 of us that are there. So there's 5 or 6 of us, but we do kind of touch across certified and classified.
I know Becky back, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
Becky back when the committee work was started in March to deal with the rates for next year, leading up to that May recommendation, she tried to recruit, put word out that we need, we'd like some more membership. So I think a few dropped off, a few new ones came on. Retirees have representation, so it's kind of doing this with a core group that I can see of 12 to 14 that show up to meetings.
Good.
And then the administrators that are serve on a committee just as support, a
Right.
non-voting role. Dr. Moss, Dr. Ritter, me, Susan Smith, Becky England. We're a part of the committee to serve the committee, to hear what the committee is asking, to bring answers, and you know, if they ask for a survey, that, you know, to carry those out. But so we're there as facilitators, but the committee is casting the votes and giving the direction. Matt, would you want to add to that?
Correct. That's exactly how it works.
Do you think that's why there's been such a positive impact on the service utilization?
I feel like it has, just because it's educated, especially that core group of us that have been there for every meeting. We've been very educated, understanding, and any questions we've had of HSG or anybody else, it's like answered quickly for us, and then that helps us go back out and kind of talk to others about this is what we're talking about and explain things and start comparing apples to apples instead of always trying to compare apples to oranges all the time. So again, it's an education piece. It's trying to educate as many as possible.
Okay.
I asked Becky the other day how many responded, and I believe the response to the survey was around 350, which for 800 employees, and especially for 600 teachers last week at school.
Especially for, that's better than I
Thought that was pretty good.
Very good.
Do we have to do a 3-year contract? I we've asked, and does that lock us into them if we decided to change?
No, data C4 explains that at the end of any year.
I can't pull it up.
It's
not,
slow
it won't
pulling
come
up.
No, I'm just going to read it here.
Oh, okay.
If that's all right.
Yeah.
To answer your question, the data, section C4, talks about everything remains the same with the current contract, including the option to terminate the agreement at the end of a plan year with 30 days advance written notice.
So if we decided to go ahead with the 5-year agreement, we could still terminate it at the end of this year with 30 days notice? Okay, without any kind of...
No cause, no repercussion.
All right. Any other questions, discussion? Okay. Having heard none, I'll make a motion that we approve this item as presented.
I'll second it.
Okay. I made the motion, second by Jennifer. There's no further discussion. Please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you
Motion
guys very
passes.
much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Appreciate
Thank you,
that.
Matt.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, sports medicine bid.
Every 5 to 7 years, we relook at our sports medicine program, and we have providers in the area that take the opportunity to, we put a request for proposal out, and we put some specifications, some things that we would like to see covered. Things like support for our trainer, doctors at ball games in case something happens to our students, Saturday morning clinics, or help for our students to get looked at the next day by a professional. Also, anything that they may want to offer to add to supplement our services or supplies at the school and so on. And so this year we had three sports medicine providers who provided proposals, Freeman, Ortho, and also Mercy. We have a committee, and the committee gets together ahead of time to make sure that we look at what's been happening, what's in the past, what kind of services we like, what things we would like to look forward to, then try to come up with a really fair way of looking at the proposals and try to make a good decision. And so we had several people, you can see it up there, Jeff Starkweather, of course, our athletic director, Matt Hyatt here, Tracy Saunders, our head trainer, Allie Stoffer, who's a swimming coach for us, Paul as well. And then we looked at those, we opened the proposals, and Matt, is there anything you would like to say?
Well, I would like to thank the providers as well for submitting proposals. They were 3 very comprehensive proposals, and I would like to thank the Sports Medicine Committee for their work on reviewing the proposals and analyzing the proposals. And just pretty simply, it was the choice of the committee that Freeman was the most comprehensive and complete proposal submitted, and will be the best to suit the needs, sports medicine needs of our athletes in the future.
So can I just want to clarify that their bids are the value to the district, not cost to the district, right?
Correct. There's no cost to this for us. That is value coming to us.
Is that
Okay, so it's not
annual,
a
or is that the
cost.
life of the contract?
That is, those are annual figures you see
Thank
right
you.
there. So,
So this, there's not a cost, no cost to the district, okay.
Doesn't cost us
So
anything.
they're
Correct.
basically giving
Yeah.
us a benefit.
do
Right.
free physicals for kids?
that's correct. Yep, that's part of it.
Free
Good
physicals,
deal.
which Steve had mentioned, was also part of this.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a kind of a laundry list of things that we were looking for that really helps our student athletes and our families to get on track when they get going, and it also services all the way down to the middle school. And so
Right.
it's pretty important.
Yeah.
You know, the free physicals is a huge deal for us. Last year, we saw 386 kids.
They're
7th
lined up
through
out the
12th
door
grade.
and down the parking lot
Yeah,
and
that
next door.
cost them nothing to get them ready for next year's athletics.
That's
So
a great benefit.
That's a great service for us and our families.
Also, the committee was recognized that, you know, Friday night varsity football, and with as physical as that is, that you want the best trained, you know, physicians to respond to those. Until the ambulance can get there, you need service right there on the field. It's pretty important. Wasn't that a discussion item?
Correct. You know, having that doctor who has emergency room training, I don't know what the medical term for it is, but emergency room training and is practiced in the emergency room there on our sideline is a huge benefit for us, just in case of anything catastrophic. We do have an ambulance there that we pay for out of our budget as well, you know, for transportation needs and that type of thing as well. But that's a huge deal for the safety of our football players on a Friday night.
All right.
Okay.
So I will move that we accept Freeman as our sports medicine provider.
I will second that.
All right, so motion by Lori, second by Brent. No further discussion, please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, that motion passes.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Next up, the bus video system.
Mike? I don't know how much opportunity you've had to get to know Mike Bevis, but I'm going to give you one right now. Mike is our transportation director, and he's done a great job this year acclimating himself kind of partway through the year and taking over for Dave Pettit. And we need to purchase some more bus videos. I want to have him explain to you right quick how we're going to use them and how it's going to make things better.
Sure. Probably about, I guess 2/3 of our buses have already had this system on them. We just hadn't completed the whole, all of the buses yet. Some of the other buses do have video systems on them, but they're the old type that has a big old cassette in them. And in order, you got to have an extra system on our computers to hook it up, and it takes forever to download it and watch it and save it. And so the new systems, or newer systems, have an SD card.
Okay.
And it just pops right in the side of it. And if I need it, something happens on a bus, they call on the radio and say, hey, I need my video pulled. And they tell me where it happened at or approximate time, and I can get it off the bus, put it in the camera, and we've got it. And it's also got a GPS locator, so I can pull up a map on it, see where they were at, what speed the bus was going, all those things. So it's a very good, convenient system, easy to use. And I think in the future, it might be something that we can hook into another system that has like live GPS and a lot of other advantages. So, but we'll get those in, and I think we have even a couple of extras ordered. So when one breaks down, we'll have them on hand to replace them right away, because you don't want a bus without a video camera system, even for one day. It protects the kids and it protects the drivers.
And this will finish the upgrade, so all the buses will have them?
Yes, yep, they'll all be completed.
Okay.
Our new ones coming in, we'll have them put on those too.
All right. Any questions from Ms. Bevis?
And we use them. When something
Yes.
happens, we use them.
Every day.
It is a safety
Yes.
precaution.
Well, I move that we approve the gatekeeper system bid for $21,887.42.
I'll second
All right. Motion by Sherrick, second by Derek. Please
This-
vote.
This
Yep.
money's in the budget, right, Carrie?
Pardon me?
The money, we have this money in the budget?
Yes.
All right, and that's coming out of this year or last year?
This should be for cap outlay for this coming year.
For next year,
Yeah.
okay. All right,
Please vote.
yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. That motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Bevis.
Thanks, Al.
Thank you, Mike.
Next up, learning management system renewal.
No fake news here.
Okay, Eric will help me with this one. We have this system called Canvas, is the brand name of it. It's a learning management system. Essentially, You've probably all been involved, or maybe you've taken a course, or you've done some little professional development activity at your work, or whatever, where you log into a system and your videos are there, or whatever it is that you're learning from, or reading, or responding to is there. And what our teachers have really become very proficient in, all the way down the middle school level, they're using it at the middle schools as well. The high school kind of took the lead on this with the one-to-one initiative, because what's happening is our kids are going to college and they're going to use a learning management system, or they're going to use a learning management system somewhere, anywhere. It's everywhere. And so we went to a learning management system to store curriculum materials, to store lesson plans, to store videos, to store PDFs of works that we need for kids to read, or whatever it is, to help them. And also, it helps with our online classes as well. So it's really helping our teachers become more proficient in the 21st century. It's kind of the wave right now. I don't see us ever going backwards from that. It also allows anytime learning anywhere. So the kid can get into their Canvas account, and the teacher's posted assignments or posted whatever it is they need to have. Anywhere they have internet service, they can get in, they can learn, and they can have access to the class. So what we'd like to do is recommend that we continue on with the Canvas and Canvas program, and then also go ahead and approve this action item to go ahead and pay for Canvas for next year. Eric, is there anything you want to add?
No, you covered it.
All right. Any questions on this item?
In here it says recommended for the 2016-17 operating budget. Should that be 17-18?
No, 16.
So this was.
So we can put year one, pay for it out of this year's budget, but use it for next year.
Is that what
So-
we're doing? Okay.
Yeah, Eric's department.
Thank you for planning ahead.
Tonight's approval, that we'll be making this payment out the rest of this week, so you'll have
Okay.
it fast.
Very good.
And I'll move that the learning management system for Canvas to continue.
Okay. Motion by Deborah.
I'll second.
Second by Derek. Please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, and that motion passes. Thank you. Next, capital outlay.
Excuse me, all the projects that you see here, playground safety material for Irving and Royal Heights, that's to make sure that, at Irving, we have this big, expansive play area now, the green space back, so we're moving the playground to it. At Royal Heights, we had not got to them when it comes to upgrading their playground all the way across with rubber mats and concrete base. Obviously, to make sure our fleet of mowers is up to date, we need some new mowers. And then also, you want to talk about water heaters? Exciting.
Exciting. These are 3 industrial water heaters that we currently have at Cecil Floyd. These will be replacements. Currently, only 2 of the 3 are functioning, so we have no redundancy, and if we lose another one, we're going to be washing dishes after kids go home so that we can make sure that we have hot water. So we need to replace these 3 before more fail.
And these are all projects that were identified when we went through the process of going to all the buildings, seeing what the needs are, seeing what the wants are, sitting down with Dr. Ritter and Paul and really refining our capital projects budget for next year. So these would all be expenditures for 17-18 capital
17-18.
projects.
Okay. All right. Any question for these guys while they're up here?
Always. Carrie, on the purchase of the mowers, were the maintenance guys in on choosing those? Because they maintain those, and I know there are certain ones that we already have that they are well-versed in maintaining. We can switch parts out and things. Were they, Eric Hudson, was he asked about those mowers, and are those ones that he felt were good?
Yes, we had myself and grounds, as well as the mechanics, discussed the pros and cons, and currently Grasshopper is the mainstay of our current mowing fleet, and we chose to continue with that, and yes, Eric did agree with that.
Okay, so as long as he had some input,
He
just
did.
because they have to maintain them. and I can-
One of the things that Eric had brought to my attention when I first started was that particular, what you just said.
Uh-huh.
And so we kind of made the conscious decision back in the fall and the early spring to make sure that we were going to be as consistent as possible so we could use interchangeable parts.
Okay, I've had that
yep.
conversation with him, so I just
Yep,
wanted to make
sure.
sure that he's very knowledgeable about
Yes,
this stuff.
he
So,
very much
all right.
is.
Okay.
It does
Okay.
not jump.
Okay.
If there's no other questions, I would entertain a motion to approve the capital outlay projects as presented.
I'll move, so moved.
Jennifer moved,
I'll second.
and Lori second. Please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. All right, so that passes. Thank you. Next item up, emergency repair of sinkhole at JHS.
As we all know, we had quite the event with the rain back on that day in April, I believe it was, early April. And it really put us in a bind because we had a lot more rain coming, okay? And we knew that was going to happen because of the forecast. So it really put Dave and everybody under the gun as far as trying to get this taken care of because of its proximity to the school, because of its, in the fact that it was in the fire lane, the fact that there was water, serviceable water coming in for the fire extinguishers and the fire line at the high school. And Dave, what else am I forgetting? The fact that it was a hole that was potentially could have been a lot bigger if the second set of rains would have got to it.
Right, yeah, but we were looking at public safety as well as securing the facility itself as well as services to Joplin High School facility. And then, of course, the fire lane that was right in the middle of.
And one of the things the engineer did tell us, in fact, he had a long conversation with me today, and Dr. Moss happened to walk in on it, was the fact that when he got into the hole itself, he had to be dropped down in and secured. It was a kind of evolving situation. So as he was monitoring it, the complexity of the problem solving, the critical thinking, and changing the approach was happening in progress. It wasn't, oh, just go take care of it like this. It was ongoing, and he gave me a lot of technical terms that I can't repeat right here, but he was very concerned with the timeliness of it himself.
I appreciate you guys taking quick action. I remember that day there were people saying, do we need to evacuate the school? Do we need to? So having those guys on site somewhere else and being able to redeploy them, that was quick thinking. Thank you. With that, I'll make a motion that we approve this as presented.
I'll second.
Second by Derek. Please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, that motion passes. Thank you.
Can I ask, is there any indicator that those are there and that we should keep an eye on them somehow? Or do they just, all of a sudden, the ground open up? Honestly, I'm not from the Midwest, so
That's pretty much it. It happened in Springfield. It happened.
I mean, it's just sort of there
Over
one day, gone
Rogersville.
tomorrow kind of thing?
Most of the mining maps were, of course, they don't have GPS like we have today, because we GPSed this particular event, and should anything occur in the future, this has been documented at Joplin High School. But most of the maps that you have can be off by 100, 200 feet, which can make a difference if you're building a building that close. But you really don't typically get much warning system from these. They just open up. I got the call Friday morning driving into work, and somebody said there was a hole that had opened up, and there was quite a hole that had opened up.
I mean, so it's not like even like a sinking, like a general sinking, and then one day it just sort of gives, it just is sort of,
Boom.
It just went.
A lot of times what happens there, it's underground waterways that are way down, and then all of a sudden it just, because of rain and all that kind of stuff. So that happens all over southwest Missouri.
well, yeah, I know it, I just was curious.
I think
if
it's
there was
kind of
a way
rare. Where I grew up, once in a while, there was a sinkhole that you would see a little bit of a ground, like a crater a little bit, but it was rare. It was usually just, it went.
Yeah.
When I leave, I'm going to call it the Ozarkian experience. I've never experienced it anywhere else in my life.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
I have a
I
quick
think it happens
question.
in California.
I say,
Yeah,
I
I'm
get
a California girl, and I've
earthquakes.
seen some weird stuff. But my question on GPS, just to enlighten me, if you measure it now by GPS, does that mean it gives you notification that something's happening in that area, or what is that?
No, it's just a locate.
It's just locating it of where it was at one time.
It maps it specifically so that we know exactly where that's at.
And I think as an example, we talked about the early childhood education changes. There's a potential spot there that rather than having a parking lot, which could lead to a sinkhole, they capped it and put landscaping over it to avoid such a thing in the future. They did the same thing at the high school, and if there was potential something, the fact that it was open grassy area reduced the cost even more. Had it been structural, it would have been even more trouble. Yes. So, appreciate it.
Good job, Dave. You're an
Next up,
engineer, right?
I'm learning to be one.
of the Board of Education Treasurer and Secretary for 2017, 2018. I don't think we need a lot of discussion here.
The administration recommends the board approve appointments of Dr. Langford as Treasurer of Board of Education and Pat Waldo as Board Secretary.
All right. Would we like to make that motion?
So moved.
All right.
I'll second, or a bunch of seconds.
All right. Motion by
We all
Sherrick,
second.
second by this side of the room.
This side of the
Derek.
Did
Please
anybody
vote.
ask Pat or Ron?
We don't want
We
them to
don't-
back
Oh,
out.
no, they don't have to. Okay.
Yes.
Just wondering.
Yes.
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 Yes, okay, that motion passes. Thank you, guys, for your continued service. Next up, policy updates, first and final readings.
And you have those before you.
Do you want to explain why those are first and final? Something we changed and didn't we go back to it? Wasn't
Yeah,
that what it was?
I think
So
And
the
it was,
C-
it was,
made a
it was
change.
state law and MSB recommendations, so I can't remember the
I think
particulars.
the
Hank, wasn't that the one,
GCB
Pat, that
R1
that
is
we
all
had
gone now.
changed?
And back to the original.
And then we went back to the original, so that's why it's
Yeah.
first and final, is because we went back to, we made a change that wasn't right or something, and then,
Yep.
was that last month?
Yep.
This is where one was going to be rescinded. So we decided to do it first and final.
Right.
Both pieces at once.
Right, okay. I just thought it was because we were going back to the original, but.
And that was the day that I was at DESI,
Mhm.
and I wasn't at the policy
Yeah.
committee
Yeah.
meeting, so.
Okay.
But the policy committee has looked at each of these, correct?
Oh, yeah.
And made all the
Yeah.
necessary changes.
Just usually we
So-
don't do a first and final. It's
Right.
usually a first and then a second, but I think this one was because
Yeah.
it was.
So can we make a
Everything in the
motion?
R1 is dashed out.
So can we make a motion to accept all of these?
You-
Or do they have to be
yes.
individual?
17.
Do you want to do
could make
16
that.
and 17 together, or
Yeah.
just 16?
Let's do 16,
One fell
17.
16 and 17.
Okay, that's the motion by Lori.
I'll second that.
Second by Jennifer, please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, okay, that passes, thank you.
That puts us further down.
Number 18, Read 180, System 44. Dr. Gilbreth.
Okay, so the Read One, this is for an annual fee that comes across. It's technical support, and it's sort of twofold. If a school calls in asking questions about, how do I fix this, or how do I do that? I had a student take an assessment, and I couldn't get the data out this way or that way. It's technical support there, and then it also provides all of the disaggregated data that comes from those assessments. They run that through and provide all that data for us. So, and that's the charge that they charge along with that. It's always been there.
So this is testing, or this is?
No, it's technical support for
Okay.
the Read 180 system.
Basically, it's what allows you to pull the data.
It's what
right?
allows, yes, that's right. It allows you to pull the data. They aggregate that data for us. Like, so a student will take an assessment, they'll have a benchmark, and then their progress monitoring along the way. And so when they take the test, Read 180 does all the work with the data, and they just give it back to us.
Okay.
It's always pretty normal. And it's, yeah, absolutely. And then if there's ever technical support, if we have questions about
Anything?
how to do this, how to do that.
Any other questions that item? All right, no questions. Entertain a motion to approve item 18 as presented.
So moved.
Jennifer made the motion, second by Derek. Please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, that motion passes. Thank you. Number 19, School Messenger.
And School Messenger is our system that we use. They manage our website, and so they are active in the management of our website, the website that you see, Joplin School's website, and then plus they provide several services. The biggest service that they provide for us is the messenger system, where if we need to call out to parents or very specific groups of people, that we can develop an ad hoc and call that group of people. It's super efficient and it's super fast and can call every parent and student, anybody whose number is listed. It has the capability of sending texts, communicating in a variety of ways, and much more efficient than the old system.
And this is year 2, right?
Yes, that's correct. There is a safety component in terms of if a building goes into lockdown, we can immediately, boom, we can give a specific message put in by anybody and then send out to parents and so for example, if McKinley went into lockdown, and then the rumor mill started and parents at Cecil Floyd were saying, hey, what's going on? Are my kids in danger? We could send an immediate message that would state the problem is isolated at one school and doesn't affect any other schools, kind of thing. So there is a huge safety component.
But that's not something we used this year, right? That's what you're
No, we
looking
used
at.
it this year.
We used it, we
Yeah.
just didn't have the mobile app in place.
Okay, the mobile app is what we're looking at
That
putting
one
into
feature that
place.
was something we never had opportunity before, that came with the school messenger system, still has to be put in place.
Okay, so that's not so with the mobile app, you don't have to have that in order to get the
No, that's correct. You don't.
messaging part, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And can that be set up then for when the tornado shelter's open?
Yes.
Okay. That's something to
I
consider.
think so. Yes, I think that's
I mean,
correct, yeah.
That way there's a push instead of everybody checking.
Yeah.
It's a push to those people that want to be on that list. Maybe they live nearby.
Yes.
Don't have kids, but live nearby. Opportunity.
Okay, so,
Okay.
so for what we're paying, we are using what we're paying for. So
Yes,
We're not
absolutely.
paying
We're not-
$26,000 for this year, but we're really only using the value of about $10,000
That's correct.
of it. Okay, we're using all the
And
aspects
as I
of it that
recall,
we're.
the previous one was about 38,000 and didn't have the extra bells and whistles.
Correct.
So even using the basic, we're getting cheap, less expensive.
Yeah, that's
It's
correct.
Well, I knew there was a reason we went
Yeah,
with
yeah,
them,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that, so, yeah.
But I'd like to
was
get the other
have those.
capabilities too.
Yeah.
And as Dr. Ritter pointed out, it is a local vendor, so.
Yep. Yep.
That's a national.
Okay. Any other questions on that item? If not, would be happy to entertain a motion.
I'll move we.
All right, so
approve.
moved, Derek.
All right, I'll
Second,
it then.
Jennifer. All right, please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, okay, that motion passes. Thank you. That's it. We're up to the pluses and deltas.
Well,
That was,
I guess it's a plus and a delta as I look at Dr. Ritter and Dr. Barr, that while I wish them well and I want them to be happy and going on to their next big innings, as our title was, at the same time, I'm feeling a little delta-ish about it too.
Yes.
So, absolutely.
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
Dr. Ritter? Come here.
What? I always follow instructions.
Yeah. We knew you were leaving back in March. Those students also made a nice plaque for you for your time here.
Appreciate that.
I'll say that was back in March, so thanks for the advance notice.
Oh, sure.
Congratulations. I appreciate all the time you spent here.
Oh, this is
because
awesome.
I know it's a lot more than just a couple of years. It's meant a lot to the district and a lot to the community members of the steady hand and some solid leadership, and I certainly appreciate it as well. And go enjoy yourself and relax for a couple days.
Thank you. By the way, this is very transparent. You can see through it.
Yes.
This district needs to be very, very transparent. Everything needs to be right on top of it. You've got, as Dr. Langford said, much talented, very, very talented superintendent. That leadership team is really rock solid. Balanced now with Ashley. It needed another woman there, if I may say so. But anyway, it brings really good balance and also tremendous leadership at the site. So I'm wishing you well. The future's very bright.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Anything else to add? It was a pretty heavy agenda, and we got out quickly.
Make sure we have all of those.
Congratulations.
The supplements, if they're not in here.
Yeah, I made lots of notes tonight.
Are we ready for announcements?
Announcements.
I just wanted to say that, you know, as a school district, we've had lots of tragedy this year, and recently we had lost 2 more students. So I just wanted to remind everyone to keep the Robinson family and the Paul family in your thoughts and prayers if you're so inclined.
Yeah. And with that, I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I will second.
Second by Derek. Please vote.
Yes.
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 She's eager.
Thank you.
Eager.
Congratulations, you guys did much faster than I thought.
That might be, that
Way
might
to
be a
go.
plus that it's not 9 o'clock and we're doing it.